Today I wanted to talk about paralysis of opportunity. Welcome back to another episode of, I guess, the Pat Podcast. This will probably end up turning into Pat Podcast. I am your host, Pat. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing and also hit the little bell so that you know when the next video will come up. And if you haven't heard my rant on how important that slug line is, well, go to the last video and you can find out. The paralysis of opportunity. And that's where you basically have so many things that you want to do that you can't seem to get any single one of them done. It's a very real thing. Bloody paralysis of opportunity, man. That is my hardest thing. And no, I'm not English, and yes, I say bloody, and I think it was because when I was a kid, a bunch of my peers were saying bad words, and I'm not a cursing type of person. I do whenever I get really mad, but it's not all the time that I do that. It was frustrating because kids in middle school were swearing like a sailor, and when you didn't swear, it was kind of like alright, he's a goody two-shoes, he doesn't say. Well, I'm not criticizing those who do swear, I should point out. It's just, I don't like to swear. I will on occasion when I get really mad, but I don't. Some people swear like, it's a part of their life, it's a part of what they've done their entire lives, so they're always going to do something like that, but I've never been the type to want to swear. So I would say bloody as a way to kind of like make up for that. Even if it did mean something pretty bad, it did sound innocently enough, and you could even accidentally say it in front of your teachers and they weren't going to get too mad at you. And be like, this bloody pencil fell apart. Instead of, this effing thing, and then language, and then they get mad at you for it. Paralysis of opportunity. It's that time when you crave opportunity to be able to have time to yourself to work on a project that you really want to work on. When you're married and you have 2 kids, it's very difficult to find time to do any project, let alone one that is off the cuff. In reality, I should plan it better. I should have something, written down that I want to do. But the problem is that by the time I have that time to sit down and really think about, okay, what can I do that would be both creatively fulfilling and also something maybe different that I haven't done? Or what part of a story haven't I already told? And this kind of falls back into what I was talking about with perfectionism in the last thing. I want to at least do something. I want to be able to have time to do it, but then you can't think of what you want to do. Do I want to do gaming? Today is June 21st, and there is a huge sale on Steam right now, and I should be taking advantage of that and looking at all the different games that we could play for streaming or Let's Plays or stuff like that, but instead, I'm like, oh wait, what else could I be doing? And I figure, well, if I can't figure out what I'm going to do, I might as well make a video about explaining about how I don't know what it is I'm going to do, and therefore I guess some progress is being made. It sucks. You have the time to do the stuff that you finally want to do, but you're not getting anything done. Can anybody relate to that? I've made videos before where we're playing video games or doing a podcast or even this. This is kind of a combination, I guess, of a podcast and a vlog, the JE report sort of thing. But then I don't feel like it's the most I should be doing, and maybe that's a bad thing. See, this is more of a question-based podcast. When it comes down to creating something, you have so many precious moments and seconds, and for someone like me, it's like, what am I gonna do with them? And usually when I can't figure out what I'm gonna do with it, I get a beer and I end up watching TV, and that's it. That's the end of my day. And then before I know it, the wife and the kids come home, which, by the way, I have a super supportive wife. She honestly will give me time to do this crazy stuff because she knows how much I value it and how much I like doing this. And she knows how much I love making stuff and just putting stuff online and having fun and all that stuff. But it's so difficult to be able to do that when it's like, haven't you ever, you wanted to drive? A lot of people love the idea of they want to be able to drive, but they want to be able to drive, and then finally they work so hard to get their license and they're like, okay, where are we going? I don't know. I want to be able to go somewhere. I want to be able to do something. Even if it doesn't, I don't really care where we go, but I want to do something. And then you think of all the places you can go, and then you spend your whole day wondering where you're going to go, and you end up going nowhere. It's the same thing. Some of the methods I've come up with to combat paralysis of opportunity. When I am, doing my responsibilities, cleaning the house, watching after the kids, or helping my wife, or making dinner or something like that, when I try to use that time to listen to music and to think, what would I do if I could create a time to produce something, you know what I mean? And I always come to thinking, well, I got a cool camera to play with. I got a cool computer that will allow me to play games and stream. What do I feel like doing? And then I get to it and I'm like, I just don't feel like doing any of it. Is that lame? Does that mean that I actually don't like it? And I know I like it. I know I like this stuff. So why is it so challenging for me when I actually get to that point? So I have this long list of things that I try to, make to combat that. But then again, I had the list. I get this time, I look at the list, and I'm like, I don't want to do any of that. What does that mean? Does anybody have any idea what that means? The particular stand I'm using is something by Vivitir, I guess. That's what it's called. It's actually pretty cool. I really want to get myself one of those, the GorillaPod thing that you can put stuff down and you can actually walk away from it and talk to it, which make this a little bit easier. Yesterday, I had this really great time to think, hey, you know what? The Ghostbusters anniversary was 2 weeks ago. The anniversary of the first time the movie was seen, and then this last Sunday was actually the anniversary of Ghostbusters 2, and it was also Father's Day. So I got the day to myself. It was perfect. I was like, I'm going to watch Ghostbusters 2. And then I had the idea, I'm going to replay through Ghostbusters because I love that game. And people can watch it if they want. If they don't, that's great. But at least I'll have this opportunity to learn and to grow talking on a stream, even if there's not anybody there, and be able to talk about the game, this thing that I love, because I've always considered that Ghostbusters as a continuation of the Ghostbusters franchise. Not that I don't like the one with the girls, it's okay, but it missed something. It was lacking something. I don't know what. The humor wasn't right. Which is sad because they had a tremendous cast. I mean, SNL alumni, that's basically the original Ghostbusters. I don't want to get off topic here. I started playing it, and I started playing with the settings, and then the settings started fighting with me, and then you go to YouTube videos, and YouTube videos say, make sure it's on ultra fast, and make sure your bit rate's right, and all that. And then somewhere between the excitement of wanting to do it and the process of putting it together, it just fell apart for me. Is that laziness or is that lack of discipline? What is that? Am I looking at it for the wrong thing? Should I be looking forward to making it as awesome as I can and all that? Some days I get that way. I look up video tutorials all the time, and I'm trying to figure out how to, make things look interesting and cool and different. But sometimes I just trying to do something different to keep it fresh, right? Even for myself, because sometimes, doing just one thing over and over again can get boring. Oh, so I try to do things that are different and interesting. Like, I love animation. I have a new respect for people who animate, and I'm only doing it on Blender, which is a free animating software which you can download. Go into Google, type in Blender, you get it. Tons of online tutorials. Of all the 3D softwares out there that you can get into, that one's probably the easiest to learn how to do it. If you're interested in 3D modeling, that's definitely the way to go about it. I digress. It's kind of like, I guess it's worse than writer's block, because you know what you would like to do, but then you also know what you would like to do, of course, over all these projects. So then you get nothing done. There's an old saying that says, he who chases 2 hares often loses both. It's exactly that, only I'm chasing 5 hares. I chase all of them at the same time is because I look for whichever creative outlet is going to be the most, I guess, satisfying. Sometimes all I can do is come back to this, is like a podcast or a vlog, or talk about a discovery or a problem that I'm having that maybe I can organize my thoughts by vocalizing them out loud. You might not believe this, but I come from a family where there's not really a whole lot of people who follow this type of style. My cousin's kind of like that, and he enjoys doing stuff like this, but I think his is more of the classic training of cinematography and all that, and I love that. That's great. That's what I should be doing. I prefer this kind of figure it out yourself as you go route. That can be a little bit hard because you don't really have external motivation outside of what you decide that you're going to do. I'm very lucky that the guys, they enjoy the stuff that I create, and they find it funny and all that, and that's why they keep asking me to make the stuff. Even then it gets a little bit discouraging because after a while it's essentially just my voice talking out into the void there. I like to mix it up. I like to do different things, and it's hard to expand on these ideas when you really have so many things you'd like to do, but then you're not sure which one of them to do. I'm sure I sound like a lunatic to people who don't create things. I think it's maybe kind of like, when you see those people who are trying to clean the house on the weekend, and they're just so aggravated, they're so angry. And you know why they're so angry? It's because they know everything that they want to get clean. Let's say they want to dust, they want to mop, they want to do the dishes, they want to clean the ceiling fans, and they want to empty out the garage. While they're in the middle of doing one of those things, they start thinking about the other thing. Like, okay, I'm going to do the laundry. Hey, the garage is right next to the laundry. I should just open up the garage and look and see what's in there. Hey, you know what? That box is on the floor. You know what? Let me move that box somewhere else because I'm going to keep going there. Oh my God, I forgot to do the laundry. I'm going to go finish with the laundry. Oh man, who left this cup out here? You know what? Let me go do the dishes first, then I can do the laundry, and then I can do the garage. And then you get to the kitchen, and the kitchen, you know, you're walking on and you feel like a little stickiness. I'm like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and sweep and mop right now because then I can do the sweeping, and then I can do the mopping, and then I can do the dishes, and then I can do the laundry, and then I'll work on the garage. But you know what? Oh my gosh, where's the broom? Oh, I can't find the broom. Okay, I have to get this done. You know what? Oh my gosh, I'm stressing myself out. There's just so much to do. You know what? What time is it? Oh man, I can't believe the day's already freaking over. I washed the dishes and that's it. So you get something done, but it's nowhere near what you wanted to do. And call it poor planning, call it poor discipline if you want, but it is. I mean, it's real. It probably, you know what? It is. It's a discipline problem. I think I've gotten better at it, but that's kind of the another counterintuitive catch-22 that creative people fall into, is that you are super excited to create something, but being creative by nature is being able to think outside created boundaries and do different things. It sounds very artistic, right? Like explore beyond boundaries. No, it's not that big a deal. It's like I just want to do something different. You know what I mean? Because we're restless and we're very impatient people. What is that thing that we can do that's different? Well, we don't really know. And so it's the truth. We can't do discipline. We can't. We should be disciplined. Discipline would be our friend. We'd actually get stuff done. But it's harder to be disciplined when it's hard to be disciplined when your very foundation for making things is a mindset of breaking disciplines, that you don't want to have to adhere to many disciplines so that your creative mind can actually flow the way that you want it to flow. Again, that probably sounds really crazy, like I'm a crazy person. I'm willing to believe that there's people out there that share the same frustrations. And if you do, please leave a comment and let me know that I'm not the only one alone on this. It is such a hardship. It's such a hardship being able to be a goofball. No, it's not like anything is external is affecting me. It's me. I know it's me. I'm affecting myself because I'm given this opportunity to do the things I want to do. I'm given the equipment to do the stuff that I actually really want to do, and I feel like I waste that time. I don't want to waste that time. There's got to be a different way to do it. I'm filming this, and it just occurred to me that one of the reasons why the paralysis of opportunity occurs is because before you have kids, before you get married, you have this boredom and this lack of events occurring in your life. And so you seek the companionship and you seek the things that you've wanted for your entire life, which is to have a wife and kids, which I adore and would never trade for anything in the world. But then you remember what you did to cope with that time that you were alone. And usually that would be to write, to read, to create, to exercise, to do all these things. And it never occurs to you that when you get these new things, you're going to lose that time that you used to make the things that you did by yourself. You know, it sounds terrible in a weird way, because I'm like, well, why don't you just do that new stuff with them? What if they don't like that stuff? And you still have that creative desire to try to do something, but they're not into that, and they don't have to be. And who knows, maybe one of my kids will grow up and he'll have the same issue, and me and them can make videos and it'll be great. Problem is that in the meantime, I'm only given so much time to try to explore what I used to have hours to decide. And I think I'd get so much done, because obviously if you have a 16-hour day of doing nothing and you really, you can get something done, even if it's not, something all of much. When you have shorter and shorter time frames, instead of trying to say, okay, this time I'm only going to do this. Okay, this time I'm only going to do this. Instead, you try to pack everything that you used to do in that day, in that 16-hour day, into maybe the 2-3 hour window that you get every couple of days, and then maybe in on the weekend. And so you're like, okay, now I remember, okay, what did I used to do? I used to sit here, okay, and I used to think, okay, what would I do? Okay, then I looked at something that's funny, and then that funny thing would make me want to go make something, and then I would go make it. Okay, but then, where's the equipment? Oh crap, the battery's not charged. And that, again, that's poor discipline and poor preparation on my part, but the principle still applies. I'm trying to fit what used to be a full day event idea into this time frame here. I lack discipline to get it done, because I don't lack motivation. Obviously I want to do this stuff, but it's demotivating when you can't get to everything. You feel like something's going to suffer. I want to be able to get to a point where I'm in a schedule and I know this day's this day's this, because I know that's right, but I'm having to retrain my brain to think, okay, look, genius, you can't create things and not put some structure into it. There has to be structure. Kind of like a guitar, right? You know the notes, you know how to play the notes, and then you can get crazy and do whatever you want to do. But if you're starting off with and say, no, I'm just going to play with it, well, you're not going to really get anywhere. You have to learn structure first. I'm not even sure if this is a podcast anymore or what this is, some weird advice style thing. I came back to my office and I hear this sound thing, and I'm like, oh my God, what is that sound? And it gets louder and louder as I approach my desk. And I'm like, oh my God, it's my hard drive. No, please, don't. And then I look outside the window and I think somebody's mowing their grass. But you know what I realized? And I think this is why these podcasts productions help me, is because it helps me think and really decide what it is that's going on inside my head. And I think really the answer is just do something. Do anything. Without realizing it, I'm doing this podcast here. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for you guys watching this and putting up with it. There is always a solution to any problem. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense at the time. But I really do appreciate you guys watching this. Please consider subscribing and maybe like the video, give it a thumbs up. That would be super helpful to us as we try to grow the Jackass Express brand. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.